Shalom kulam, hello everyone, shalom Allison, ma shlomech. Ani Shannon, I'm Shannon, and this is my Hebrew project update for 90 days with drops. And in this video, I am going to share what I've been doing over the last several weeks to study Hebrew in preparation for our trip to Tel Aviv. So, let's get into it. In studying Hebrew is actually my 13th language. If you haven't already seen the project introduction video that Allison and I did, you can click the link below and you can go ahead and check that out. So one of the things that I've noticed about Hebrew that's quite interesting is that it feels a little bit familiar to me. When I'm learning new vocabulary and things like that, it doesn't feel like this completely new language. I almost have this sense of deja vu learning Hebrew. Of course, there is a lot of new vocabulary, a lot of new grammar for me, but again, like I said, there's just this little bit of familiarity that I have with it. And I'm not sure why I've been thinking about the other languages that I know, and Hebrew is the first language in this family that I've learned, so I'm not sure why I have this. And it's almost actually even Hindi that feels a little bit similar to me. Perhaps it's just the difference between a male speaker and a female speaker. Some of the grammar is a little bit similar. It has some similar vocabulary to some of the other languages that I've learned as well. But overall, Hebrew is not as difficult as I thought it was going to be, but then again, I'm still totally at the beginner phase, so it's possible that when I get deeper into it, that I may start to find it a little bit more challenging. Aside from that, there are a few different things that I've been doing to learn Hebrew. The first, of course, is spending time in drops learning new vocabulary. I've missed a few days since the start of the challenge. I've had quite a few things going on, and I just wasn't able to squeeze in a full session by the end of the day. I have used drops every single day. I just haven't completed an entire drop session, and to count towards your streak, you have to fill up the entire time in drops. But I've done fairly well, so I've only missed 5 days of my streak. So we're on day 52 and I've studied 46 total days. As far as the stats and drops, I've learned 385 words, and in the last 7 days, I've learned 33 new words. Now, the reason that this number is kind of slowing down is because the more words you learn in drops, the more words you have that come up for review in your sessions. So it slows your pace a little bit, not completely. The other thing too is I've been spending some time in the dojo to review the past vocabulary that I've learned. With more than 300 words, it's important to do review as much as it is important to continue learning new vocabulary. So some of my study time has been divided up between review in the dojo and learning new words in the core learning mode of drops. The other thing is that I've been doing 15 minutes a day in drops, which is part of the reason that I'm up to that many words. So I'm spending quite a bit of time learning vocabulary, but for me, in my past experience, learning lots of vocabulary is really important because in order to be able to do other things in the language, you need a lot of vocabulary to really get by and get around. So in addition to learning with drops, there are 2 other things that I'm doing. The second thing that I'm doing is I am listening to Pimsleur in the car. I spend quite a bit of time in the car, so I make sure to utilize that time as study time. There are a million other things that would be easier for me to do in the car, like just turn on the radio or turn on some music, but I made a point of installing the Pimsleur app onto my phone so that when I get into the car, I can just quickly start up a lesson and I'm on my way. And when I get out and get back in, it auto starts again, so I don't even need to think about it. And so that lets me get that half an hour of study of Hebrew in. It's helped a lot with my pronunciation, it's helped a lot with my comprehension, and it's also helped a lot with me having confidence in speaking the language. And the third thing that I'm doing is I've started looking for a Hebrew tutor. I think I found the tutor who's the best fit for me. So I'm looking forward to continuing lessons, but I've tried out a few different teachers to get a feel for their teaching styles and to see who would be a good fit for me. It's also given me the chance to practice speaking Hebrew, practice working on my introduction in Hebrew, and getting to know how to say a lot of different things in the language. So I tried out, I think, 3 or 4 tutors, and I found the one that I like. I'm going to go ahead and book a package with them and continue to study with them up until we go to Tel Aviv. So that's a couple more weeks. I'm really excited about the trip. I've already learned how to do the thing that I most wanted to know how to do, and that's order coffee. So I learned how to talk about the different sizes of coffees, whether I want an iced or hot coffee. I've learned how to say whether I want to have the coffee in the coffee shop or order it takeaway. I've also learned the names of several pastries that are popular in Israel, so I know which ones of those I'd like to order if they're available in the cafe, or how to ask what a certain pastry is if I'm unfamiliar with it. So that's something that I've prepared, and hopefully I'll get some footage of me doing that in Tel Aviv. Other than that, I've just been trucking along, doing the daily work, because that's really what learning a language is all about, is that consistency and that commitment. I find that if I try to rely on motivation too much when I'm learning a language, like, do I feel motivated to study today? That motivation just isn't there. So if I'm relying on that, I don't take the time to sit down and study that day. Whereas if I rely on habits or discipline and saying, okay, I have to study Hebrew today, I have to put in this time today, I can go ahead and just do it because I know it's a part of what I need to accomplish for that day. It's on my to-do list, essentially. And so I just go and I do it whether I feel like it or not, which means that sometimes it's harder to sit down and study than others. But if I just do it, I get it done, I get that time with the language, I get that exposure with the language, and in that, I continue to make progress forward with it. So I've found that just really important in my studies. So, Allison, I'm going to throw it back to you, and I look forward to your next update on how your 90 Days with Drops Hebrew project is going. And if you're wondering what we're talking about, you can visit languagedrops.com to find out more about Drops, the app that we're using to learn Hebrew, and you can also learn more about 90 Days with Drops, the current challenge that Allison and I are participating in. So, happy language learning!